What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Knicks Recap podcast. I'm your host, Troy, and you could be anywhere in the world this afternoon, but you chose to be here with me, and I really do appreciate that. Knicks Nation, I see you. Chat gang, I see you as well, too. I promise you, we're going to get to your comments. But before we do that, we have so much Knicks content to get to. We're going to be breaking down some trade reports that have just come out linking the Knicks to two big men in the NBA right now. We're going to break down exactly who those players are and exactly why the Knicks may be looking to go after them at the trade deadline. But we're not only going to stop there, we're also going to be talking about the collapse of the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's right. The Timberwolves are not in good shape as we speak right now, and potentially they could be making another trade, and that trade could involve Julius Randle. Yes, we're going to break that down as well, too. So many other things to talk about. We're also going to be doing that live Q&A for the 20,000 subscriber mark that the channel recently hit. I got to say, guys, again, it is such a happy moment for the channel and for me to wake up and see 20,000 subscribers on the channel. Thank you guys so much. When we did the Q&A and we did the poll about this, and I was asking everybody, what did they want to see today? What things did they want to look out for when we reach 20K? Everybody voted and they said they wanted to see a live Q&A. So we're going to do that as best as possible with everybody who joins the stream today. But before we do that, guys, you know we have to start with the image and the thumbnail, the main topic today. That is Jericho Sims. Jericho Sims was benched yesterday in the game where the Knicks dominated and absolutely destroyed. They obliterated their competition and they did exactly what they needed to do against a Hornets team that could not go against them. But even though they did that, there were a couple things to notice. We saw Precious Achiuwa return. We saw what he was able to do, but we also saw Jericho Sims get benched in that game. He went in the game. He made a few errors. Didn't do exactly what he needed to do. And because of that, Tom Thibodeau pulled him. After the game, the media talked to after the game, the media talked to Tom Thibodeau about what he did with Jericho Sims and him benching him. And he had a lot to say about the situation. So we're going to break down exactly what Tom Thibodeau said about benching Jericho Sims and exactly what Precious Achiuwa's future is moving forward with this team. We're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about all of those reports for you guys today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and have notifications turned on as well, too. So that way, anytime we drop new content, you get notified. And now, let's get started. The Knicks bench Jericho Sims. I was a little bit shocked to see this because I wasn't expecting him to get benched. Now, if everybody was watching the game like I was last night, when the Knicks were facing the Charlotte Hornets, we saw exactly why he was benched. When he was first entered into the game and he was given a pass, he was underneath the basket and somehow, some way, he still missed the shot. But there was one play that I remember him doing. Jalen Brunson, I think it was Jalen Brunson, might have been Josh Hart. Anyways, he gets the ball. After he gets the ball, instead of passing it right away, he takes the ball and he runs up the floor about 2 or 3 feet. And then he looks back and he passes the ball anyways. When he does that, he causes the turnover and the Hornets are able to convert on 2 points down the other end of the floor. That was caused by Jericho Sims. All of those factors led to him being benched. And then after the game, Ian Bagley, SNY NBA insider, asked Tom Thibodeau about why he benched Jericho Sims. And he gave us the following response to that. Shout out to Ian Bagley for giving us all this information here and providing all of these great updates for us. We got to give a shout out here to New York basketball as well, too, for breaking it down. So clearly, as you guys can see here, Tom Thibodeau benched Jericho Sims after a rough 3 minutes in the game. Precious Achiuwa, when he returned, he played 12 minutes. Now, according to Tom Thibodeau, when Ian Bagley asked if Jericho Sims was situational now because Precious Achiuwa was back, and obviously he was benched, here was Tom Thibodeau's response. I didn't like the energy of the group. Started searching for something to get us going. You got to make sure you're getting things done out there. That's at least what that's at least what Tom Thibodeau was stating about why he benched Jericho Sims in that game. And here's exactly what Ian Bagley had to say regarding Achiuwa, him returning, and what his role is going to be moving forward. And for me, this was the biggest update for them all because I thought when Achiuwa came back, somebody was going to lose minutes. And it looks like Jericho Sims is that player. According to Ian Begley, he states that Precious Achiuwa made his regular season debut on Thursday after missing the first 21 games due to a hamstring strain. Achiuwa played 11 minutes against Charlotte. How does the rotation change with Achiuwa back? It's possible that Jericho Sims' minutes will decrease. Sims played just 3 minutes on Thursday. Thibodeau was asked if Achiuwa's presence would remove Sims from the regular rotation. I want to read this quote again because I missed this first part there. If you notice, New York basketball didn't have the no part there. But in Ian Begley's response, in his official article, he has the response stating, no, I didn't like the energy of the group, so we just started to search for something else that could get us going. You have to go out there and make sure you're getting things going. You have to go out there and make sure that you're getting things done out there, that you're doing your job and playing your role. Clearly, it was perfectly clear when you saw Jericho Sims out there. He was not playing the role that he needed to play. He was not doing what he needed to do defensively, not getting us rebounds, and he was not having an impact. When he got the ball in his hands, he was turning the ball over. I am not surprised that he was taken off the floor. What I am surprised, though, is he was benched. He was one of our best players on the court a couple of games ago in terms of defense, in terms of getting offensive rebounds, and all of those things. That doesn't change after one game. So was he benched in this game? He absolutely was. Tom Thibodeau basically admitted it. He said he was benched because he did not like the energy of that group. And I understand taking him out of the game for a few minutes, but we didn't see him again for the entire game. Now, I don't know about you guys, but with Achiuwa coming back, and obviously he has to get minutes somewhere. I know the rookies are likely not going to get enough time. Some of them are likely going to go to the G League. We saw Pacome Dadier go to the G League. Tyler Kolek and Ariel Hukporti, they're likely going to go there too as the Knicks get healthier. We're going to get Landry Shamet back soon. In January, we're getting Mitchell Robinson back. We just got Precious Achiuwa back. He may have played only 12 minutes, but I think that was by design. He's likely on a minutes restriction because of that hamstring injury. Maybe give him a couple of games. He'll likely get back to his normal minutes rotation. Maybe that's 25 minutes a night. Maybe that's 30 minutes a night, depending on who we're playing. But the main takeaway here is Precious Achiuwa is somebody that is trusted by Tom Thibodeau. He wants to play him in the game. He wants to have him in the lineup. We saw it yesterday. When there is a lineup of Deuce McBride, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Precious Achiuwa playing, that entire lineup can switch like that. And they're good offensively and defensively. They can shoot the ball and they can protect the ball. They can protect the paint. They can protect the perimeter a little bit better than some of the other rotations we saw out there. And because of their ability to switch, nobody's ever unguarded. Everybody has a hand in their face and every shot is contested. That's what you get with the lineup that can switch like that. Thibodeau didn't run it a lot. But I think going forward, if the Knicks have an issue defensively, I promise you, you're going to see that lineup. We didn't see Campaign last night. He's dealing with an elbow injury. What happens when he comes back? He's going to be inserted into the lineup. That means you get more scoring and more defense and more playmaking with that lineup. And Achiuwa helming the 5 in that lineup for maybe 7 to 8 minutes a night, they can do damage. They can switch. Defensively, they're probably one of our better lineups that we have out there. And when Tom Thibodeau wants to experiment with the double big lineup, and we saw it last night with Achiuwa and Towns, it works. Because if Towns gets lost or he loses his man or he gets beat, who's there to clean it up? Achiuwa. He's going to be able to switch on Towns' man, and then right when he does that, Towns can switch on Achiuwa's guy. And that's where you get that better switch, you get better defense, and you get less players going inside the paint thinking that they can get whatever they want and they can penetrate. Jericho Sims, for everything that he does on the defensive side of the ball, he is a liability on the offensive side. He doesn't look for his shot. He is not aggressive, and you saw it last night. He passes the ball. He continues to pass the ball even if he has a first step on his opponent. You can't do that in the NBA. If you're past your guard, if you're past your guy, go to the rack and dunk it. Hit it. Get contact. Do something. You can't look back after you've moved forward and passed the ball because everybody then knows that's what you're going to do. They're going to read you. They're going to time you, and that's what they did. That's why Tom Thibodeau benched him and took him out of the game. Achiuwa coming back, and the fact that Jericho Sims didn't play more than 3 minutes, that tells you everything that you need to know moving forward. I'm not saying that Sims will not see time. He likely will, but he's going to be situational. Precious Achiuwa came back. His first game back, he plays 12 minutes. If Jericho Sims maybe doesn't have the same issues, maybe he plays 7 to 8 minutes. It's not like Jericho Sims was playing 20 minutes or even 25 minutes. It was hard for Sims to play even 12 minutes at times during games when he was healthy. Sometimes he would only play 9 minutes. The fact that Achiuwa played 12 on his debut game for the Knicks tells you everything. He is going to play significant minutes for the Knicks moving forward. And if Tom Thibodeau does not want to expand the rotation, then the only way to do what he needs to do to get Precious Achiuwa more minutes is to reduce the minutes of somebody else. Who's left? It's Jericho Sims. Jericho Sims is going to lose minutes. Precious Achiuwa is going to gain those minutes. The only way they're going to share the floor together is if Tom Thibodeau wants to sub out OG and put Precious Achiuwa in the lineup. If he does that, then maybe he subs out Karl-Anthony Towns and we get Sims in the lineup there. That's a different, but another type of double big lineup that Tom Thibodeau can run. Now, maybe the only way he runs that is if Jericho Sims gives him confidence. But he's not going to give him confidence if he keeps turning the ball over, if he doesn't have an impact, at least defensively, if he's not getting those rebounds. Do I think that Jericho Sims is forever benched, that he's not going to see any more time for the Knicks? No, I don't believe that. Clearly, given the effort, given the impact, given all the numbers and the eye test over the last few games, he hasn't lost his spot after one bad game. However, Achiuwa's here. He's trusted by Tom Thibodeau. He played 12 minutes in his debut game, likely on a minutes restriction. What happens when he's not on a minutes restriction? The Knicks need more defense and offense out there, and you need to pick between Sims and Achiuwa. Who are you going to pick? Tom Thibodeau basically said it yesterday. He's going to pick Achiuwa. He's going to get those minutes, and that's the player you're going to see on the floor, either closing games or with Karl-Anthony Towns. With Towns, he can switch. Without Towns and the same exact lineup I told you about, I'm going to call it the death lineup. The lineup of Deuce McBride, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Precious Achiuwa. The all-switching lineup, the all-switch defense that they can guard anybody. Nobody can go against them. Nobody can penetrate against them. That lineup is going to become key in the playoffs, going to become key when we're late in game and we need a stop. Now we have that weapon. Jericho Sims is not part of that lineup, ladies and gentlemen. He may have been good. He did exactly what he needed to do when he had the moments and the time to shine. But now that we're getting healthier, if the rotation's not expanding, one player is going to lose their minutes. Last night, you saw a glimpse. Moving forward, as we get healthier with Shamet and Mitchell Robinson, you think that Sims is going to play over those guys? He's going to see the bench. He is going to be situational, and he's going to get minutes if a situation arises that he needs to get minutes for. If that doesn't happen, Jericho Sims is not going to see time. It's going to be Achiuwa, it's going to be Robinson, and it's going to be Achiuwa, Robinson, Karl-Anthony Towns. It's going to be those guys playing your center position. That's what you're going to get. You're not going to see Jericho Sims playing any type of time there. And that's just by design at this point. Because if you look into it, going into the season, was Jericho Sims supposed to play heavy minutes for us? If we were fully healthy, he was supposed to be situational. The fact that he's going back to being situational when we're getting healthy again, that's not really anything to be too shocked about. I am shocked, though, that he was benched. Nobody expected that to happen. Him being benched after 3 minutes of poor play was not expected. We're going to have to see what happens moving forward. But clearly, Achiuwa has the moments, has the minutes, and has the trust out of Tom Thibodeau. If Jericho Sims slips up once, which he already did, Achiuwa's getting all of those minutes. Moving forward, Achiuwa's going to continue to get those minutes, whether anybody likes it or not. And clearly, when he's on the floor, we're a better team defensively. We're a better team on offense. And him and Karl-Anthony Towns playing the big man game, passing with each other, being able to switch with each other. Sims can't do that. Achiuwa can. I noticed it. You noticed it. Tom Thibodeau noticed it. That's why that lineup is going to see more time as we move forward. I was happy to see Precious Achiuwa return. I thought he helped us out defensively. He was definitely able to give us more of an impact on that end of the floor. Exactly what he said he was going to do in the interview before he returned. You got to love players who return and do exactly what they said they were going to do. Achiuwa, so happy to have him back. Sims, tick-tock. Your time is on the clock right now. The more mistakes you make, the less time you're going to see. Are you completely benched? Not as of yet. But as we get healthier, that's exactly what's going to happen. Now, I see the chat gang. I see you guys going off. We're going to get into another topic before we go to you guys, because I know you guys have a lot to say, not only about what the Knicks are going to do in their future moves with Jericho Sims and Precious Achiuwa, but potentially on this next topic that we're going to be talking about. So before we get started, let me drink some water here. Thank you guys for that. So before we go to the chat gang and hear everything you guys have to say about Mitchell Robinson, Precious Achiuwa, what happens when they return, and Jericho Sims, we have to talk about something else a little bit more pressing. Now, I don't know if you guys have been following the reports, but there are a number of reports coming out there are a number of reports coming out right now linking the Knicks to a number of different trade targets. So we have to talk about it. The Knicks trade reports right now are heating up. And at this point in time, they are being linked to two big men in the NBA. And those two gentlemen are Jonas Valanciunas with the Wizards and Walker Kessler with the Utah Jazz. Let's first take a look at what the reports say before I give you my take on the situation and tell you exactly what the Knicks are likely going to do at the trade deadline. Shout out to Fansided NBA Insiders for giving us the following information here about the Knicks and potentially what they can do moving forward at the deadline. According to them, with Achiuwa's return, all eyes turn to Mitchell Robinson, whose rim protection would be greatly benefiting this Knicks team if he was available right now. However, it's a bit of a stretch to say the Knicks should outright move Cat to power forward again, but expect Robinson once he comes back to get plenty of run once he's up to speed. So that absolutely confirms what I've been saying. When Mitchell Robinson comes back, he is going to get significant time. If he's getting significant time, Jericho Sims becomes situational, and likely Precious Achiuwa becomes OG Anunoby's permanent backup at that point in time. But we're going to have to wait and see exactly what the Knicks do as they get their players back. But it's clear they're waiting for Robinson, and they're waiting to pair Robinson with Karl-Anthony Towns. That's the double big lineup that eventually they want to get to. Similar exactly to what the Minnesota Timberwolves did with Rudy Gobert and Cat when he was doing that last year. But let's continue here. The New York Knicks remain a potential trade deadline buyer as well too, with big men targets like Jonas Valanciunas and Walker Kessler extremely popular in Knicks circles. There is always room to improve, and New York's front office proved its urgency this summer by trading for Cat and Mikal Bridges. So first things first here. There is no doubt about it. We are in championship contention. We are in our window. So if Leon Rose can make a trade right now to get the Knicks in even better position to make a trade, to make us a better team, and we don't have to gut the team to do it, he's going to do that. Leon Rose is a businessman. He is never going to let an opportunity pass him by. I think we all understand that. But there's something else we understand with Leon Rose as well. He is going to make the best move for the Knicks each and every time. And he's not going to make a move he can't make or a move he doesn't have to. Walker Kessler was the target before Karl-Anthony Towns in the offseason. We tried to get him. Danny Ainge is a thief. He's a thief. That's why we couldn't get the deal done. He wanted so much for Walker Kessler that Leon Rose said, you know what? I can't do that. I'm going to walk away, and I have to pivot to try to get somebody else. I think looking back on everything, Leon Rose absolutely made the right decision. And when you look at exactly what Walker Kessler's value is, if you look at what it's predicted to be, you'll understand why he walked away. Let's take a look at the following reports about Walker Kessler, Jonas Valanciunas, and potentially them being available at the trade deadline. Shout out to Evan Cedardy for giving us the following information about these two prospects that are apparently right now linked to the Knicks. According to him, Jonas Valanciunas is viewed as one of the most likely players to be moved once newly signed free agents become trade eligible on December 15th. That is 9 days away, guys. We're very close to that time frame. Various title contending teams have begun to gauge the value of Valanciunas, and his minutes continue to dwindle on the Wizards. So everything is pointing to the fact right now that Jonas Valanciunas is likely going to be moved. It may not be something that the Wizards are going to wait for. As soon as December 15th comes, maybe they make that trade automatically. But then look what we have right there. Look at what we talk about when it comes to Walker Kessler. The Jazz hold a high asking price for Walker Kessler in potential trade talks. Utah previously desired multiple first-round picks or a top prospect alongside draft capital. Kessler joins Victor Wembanyama as the only players averaging a double-double and 2 blocks per game. I absolutely understand that. Clearly, he's a prospect. Clearly, the Knicks are linked to him. The Knicks wanted to get him on this team in the offseason, but they couldn't make a trade happen. With Jonas Valanciunas, that name has been linked to the Knicks since the offseason as well, too. Since he was with the New Orleans Pelicans, and he didn't make a move yet at that time, and he was considering other teams to go to, he was thinking about the Knicks at that point. He was linked to the Knicks all the way at that point in time. Now, with the minutes dwindling for him, with the Knicks owning the Wizards' first-round pick, protected or not, that conversation is always going to be on the table. The only way the Knicks don't make a trade at the deadline is if they do 2 things. They get healthier, and as they get healthier, the players they get back actually have an impact. That's the first thing. That makes you not want to make a trade when the players you're getting back are essentially doing everything that you want players that you're going to trade for to do for you. That's number 1. Number 2 is it's going to be if we continue to win or not. 4 of them things. 4 of them things. 4-game win streak right now. And in the month of December, we have one of the easiest schedules in the NBA. If we win 10 games straight, 11 games straight, I don't think the Knicks are going to be thinking about a trade that they need to make. Winning changes everything. You're not going to want to make a trade if you're winning consistently, if you're winning consecutive games. That doesn't make sense. So the Knicks at this point in time, I don't think that they're going to make a trade given the fact that they're getting healthier and they're winning games. If these 2 trends continue and it works out the right way, the only thing I see the Knicks doing is at the buyout market sometime in February. At that point, they're going to be looking there and seeing, okay, what players are available? What players can I afford to add to this team? And maybe that's the only place they look at to try to add more talent to the roster. Other than that, I don't see the Knicks doing anything else. I don't see the Knicks going after anybody else or trying to target anything else because we're winning right now. And not only are we winning, we have the best offense in the NBA. Our defense is a problem. But as we get healthier, as we get Achiuwa back, and we see that all switched play, and we see that all switching lineup that we saw yesterday against the Hornets with Preston Achiuwa playing the 5, and we see Deuce McBride, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and OG Anunoby, their ability to switch, guard everything, guard every position, make it so that every player has a hand in their face. When you get that level of defense and you're pairing it with the best offense in the league, that becomes game-changing. It changes the entire outlook of this Knicks team. It makes us even more of a championship contender, and it changes any plans the front office even had. Winning tends to do that. If you win, you change things. So if you were going to make a trade, but you win 10 straight, you're not going to make that trade anymore. There's no reason to do that because you're getting everything that you want. The Knicks are doing that right now. So I understand it. Shout out to Fansided for giving us the following information, at least letting us know that at this point in time, the Knicks are being linked to 2 current big men, Jonas Valanciunas and Walker Kessler. And that's coming from people within Knicks circles. So that means a lot of people internally are fans of these 2 players. Again, is that a surprise? No, it's not, because we knew that they were fans of these 2 players since the offseason. That's not going to change after the Knicks already make other moves. If their values were very low and they could get them for nothing without having to gut the team, I guarantee those moves are being made. The problem is you have to give up too much in the Walker Kessler deal to get him on this team. You have to do the same thing with Jonas Valanciunas, I would think. The only thing is Jonas's value in comparison to Walker Kessler's value is night and day difference. If Kessler is here, Jonas is over here. And the fact that he's playing less and less minutes makes his value even worse. So maybe if the Knicks want to do that, they go that direction. But they will have to make a major trade happen if they do that because they cannot afford Valanciunas as we speak right now. He makes too much. So the only way they can make a trade is if they make the money work exactly. I'm not sure how they're going to do that. They would likely have to include a lot of players. Precious Achiuwa would likely be one of those players. And I don't think they're ready to do that. Given the fact they just got him back, his value really isn't that high right now because he's returning from a hamstring injury. And clearly, we need him more than we need to trade him. Can I say that again for everybody in the back? Everybody who wants to make this trade? We need him being Precious Achiuwa, more than we need to trade him. Because what he gives us, I don't think any other player could give us, because no other player would understand Tom Thibodeau, this team, or that chemistry. You cannot fake chemistry. Talent is not enough. Time put in is needed. The Knicks already realized that. You think they're going to make it tougher on themselves by making a major trade and blowing it up even further? They're not going to do that. If it's a low value cost trade, it makes sense, and we're not gutting the team, fine. That trade happens. Apart from that, they are going to be rolling with the team that we have right now. And as we get healthier, you're going to see why. The defense will pick up. The offense, I hope, stays the same. If that happens and we can pair them together, the Knicks are one of the best teams in the NBA on offense and on defense, if we're able to get to that level. Tom Thibodeau, the Knicks, the entire organization, as we just heard from not only Ian Bailey, but other NBA insiders, they confirmed they are waiting to play the double big lineup to give us the offense and the defense that we need. And the two players that are going to be heading that ship is Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson. Wait till January. That's when you see what this Knicks team can really do. I can't wait for that. But I see the chat gang. I see you guys are live and lit. So let's go to you guys real quick before we go back to the show and continue in terms of the live Q&A and also talking about other top stories with the Knicks that we have today. So let's go ahead and get to the chat gang today. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys, man. We got Rob up in here. Rob says, what up, Recap fam? What up, Troy? Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you guys. 718 says, Valanciunas only making $30K for 3 years. Mitchell Robinson makes more. Troy, pay attention. You can get Valanciunas straight up from Mitchell Robinson in a pick if Washington accepts. The thing is, though, I know that they could trade Mitchell Robinson directly. The problem is I don't think that Mitchell Robinson has any value. So what you're saying, that type of trade, if you're thinking that type of trade could exist, I don't believe that trade is going to exist, 718. I don't think any team is going to straight up trade for Mitchell Robinson. He hasn't played a single minute yet. He has no value. So any team making that trade, making that deal would be a worse team because of it. If you're trying to sell me that the Wizards would do it because they're tanking and they don't care about their future, maybe I could buy that. But I don't know if the Knicks would even want to make that trade yet if they're looking to at least at some point have the double big lineup of Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson do something. So if they're looking to do that and play that lineup in the future, maybe they don't want to trade it away. So if they want to get Valanciunas on this team still, they might have to look at other players, other contracts, and we have to be straight here. Precious Achiuwa is a free agent after this year. Jericho Sims is a free agent after this year. They could trade multiple other players if they wanted to get off of these players and get another player on this team that maybe they have more faith in and that they know is going to be part of this roster for a couple of years moving forward. Or maybe they know they can flip him at some point in time down the road. We got to remember, Leon Rose always thinks a couple of steps ahead. It's not only the first move, it's a couple of other moves. And just because a trade could get done straight up because Mitchell Robinson makes this and Jonas makes this, it's not the only way to get a deal done. Multiple ways to do it. And if anybody can tell you something about a trade happening that we're not seeing with players involved that we don't know, Leon Rose is that person. Time and time again, he's done that to us. So I'm never going to predict what a trade's going to be with Leon Rose involved. But I appreciate you, 718. Let's continue here. Rex says, Precious Achiuwa, Huck Porty, Mitchell Robinson. Hold up, I got to read that again. Mitchell Robinson is our best big man lineup, and we genuinely need all of them because Mitchell Robinson is not playing no 40 minutes when he gets back, but he's still elite. I agree with you, Rex. I think that Mitchell Robinson's likely going to play 25 minutes when he comes back. Nothing more than that. Probably less than 25 if we can make it happen that way. With the Knicks blowing out teams, we might be able to run him 20 minutes. The problem is, can we trust him playing that many minutes? Can we trust him playing consistently? These are the questions all of us are going to have to answer once we get to that point. We got to remember that. Let's see here. 718 says, Sims and Achiuwa at least healthy. Mitch ain't. You're right about that. He is healthy. They are healthy. But again, you just exactly told me why they could be traded. They're healthy. Jericho Sims is having a good year. Preston Achiuwa, when he's healthy, looks like he's going to have a good year. You trade for what you can see, what you can use now, what has value now. Mitchell Robinson's not healthy. Why would another team trade their big man for a player that they have no idea when he's going to come back? And if he does come back, you can't even flip him for anything because his value's on the floor. The Knicks would probably be better off if they kept Mitchell Robinson, built up his value, and hoped and prayed he played consistently for a few games. Now, I know hoping and praying is not a strategy, but at this point, I think that's the best course of action that they have. Because if Robinson comes back and he's healthy, he would be a force with this Knicks team. He would be very good with this Knicks team. But when healthy, I understand. And I'm not going to combat anybody if you don't like Mitchell Robinson on this team. I understand it. Let's keep it going here, though. I want to get to other people. Miguel says, I hope Mitch stays healthy, man. Poor guy hasn't really had a breakout yet. That's on him, though. That's real. I'm not going to cry over a Mitchell Robinson here. Mitchell Robinson has been injury prone. Now, I get it. Nobody likes to see anybody be injured. I don't. But I don't want to continue to sweep it under the rug either. He's an injury prone player. And we tried it to, he's an injury prone player. And we tried to trade him in the offseason. We needed to trade him in the offseason. We wanted to do that because we knew that if we did trade him in the offseason, our team would be better because of it. There's no reason to think otherwise. We did it because he's not healthy enough. It's plain and simple. I love Mitchell Robinson, but those are facts. If the Knicks could have traded him, he would have been gone. And likely, other players that we might have wanted to keep on this team might have stayed here, might have still been on the bench. But we have no idea what's going to happen now because at this point in time, all we can look at is the roster that we have and everything that Tom Thibodeau's doing with them. Let's keep it going here, though. Yuri says, I say don't trade. Let the year play out. I think that's what's going to happen, Yuri. I don't think that the Knicks are going to make a trade at all. I'm pretty sure. Let me just make sure that's not my son's bus. I'm pretty sure that the Knicks are not going to make a trade. Just because right now we're getting healthy. We're getting the players that we want back. Everything that we want, we're getting. All we really need to do is wait. Wait and be patient. So I think the Knicks are going to do that. Long-time subscriber, my guy CP the artist. He does great merch as well, too. A lot of the merch that I wear on the show is made by CP. So if you haven't checked out him, his YouTube channel, or his merch store, please go ahead. Give him a follow. Give him some love. Give him some support because I love everything that guy does. Long-time supporter. I appreciate you, my guy. Let's see here. John says, when Mitch healthy, there's going to be no stopping us. You're going to have elite offense and elite defense with the mix and match of players. Got to agree there. JJ says, OG and Cat are injury prone as well, LOL. Listen, OG Anunoby has not been injured the entire season. And I said this before the season even begun. I said that OG Anunoby had a conditioning issue because he was never really good in terms of conditioning with the Raptors. But when it comes to with the Knicks, when you have to play for Tom Thibodeau, you got to be well conditioned. Because if you're not well conditioned, there's going to be a very, very big problem there. So he had to come into camp in the best shape of his life. And I think we're seeing it. Even though he's falling to the ground sometimes, and I hate when he falls to the ground and how slow he gets up. He's not injured. He hasn't missed any time. And I hope that continues. So we can say they're injury prone, but he hasn't missed a game. And with the Knicks right now, I'm looking at what he's giving us. So let's not jinx it right now. He's good. Let's go to two more comments, and then afterwards, we're going to go to the last topic we have here. That last topic, by the way, is going to be talking about the Timberwolves and their collapse. The collapse of Minnesota coming up. Give me a few moments to get some more comments, and then we're going to go to that. You do not want to miss my take on that. Forever NBA says, also, we could have picked up Anthony Davis when he left the Pelicans, but we didn't get him. Why not? Because we weren't thinking about our defense when we were focused on our offense. I don't know if it was only that reason with Anthony Davis. I think it was also because Anthony Davis was pretty clear that he wanted to go to LA. So if somebody's telling you already they want to go to LA, They don't want to join your franchise. They're likely making it clear where they want to go. You're not going to pursue that player. I don't really understand the Anthony Davis situation there. I don't think Davis would have ever came to New York. I remember the reports at the time. Just because the reports were out at the time doesn't mean that it was significant. There were way more reports out there saying that he wanted to join LA. So I would go with that. Appreciate you, though. Last comment. Juan says, should Precious and Mitch come off the bench for the second unit? Love that question. And that's going to be the question that takes us into our next topic. Before we get to that next topic, though, let's answer that question from John. Not from John, from Juan. Excuse me. So Juan says again, should Precious and Mitch come off the bench for the second unit? If I have to answer that question, I'm saying yes. I'm not going to disrupt what the offense is looking like with the starting unit right now. I'm not saying the defense looks great with the starting unit. Defensively, we have a problem. But we score so well with that starting unit getting involved. I don't really want to change that. I do want to see Mitchell Robinson come off the bench along with Precious Achiuwa. For me, if I'm Tom Thibodeau, here's how I would run it. Achiuwa, at that point in time, would be the backup for OG Anunoby, and Mitchell Robinson would be the backup for Karl Anthony Towns. And then at some points of the game, you would play Towns and Mitchell Robinson together, or you would play Towns and Precious Achiuwa together. But you would do some combination of that at some points in the game. And then depending on what you needed at the end of games, you would put in a lineup that suits that. If you needed somebody to always switch, then you would put in the all-switching lineup, the death lineup, as I'm calling it now, in terms of Deuce McBride, Josh Hart, Mikal, OG, and Achiuwa. If you want more offense and some defense, then you just switch out Josh Hart and you put Karl Anthony Towns there. And if you do that, you get another double big lineup. That's another way you can go about it. If you want even more ferocious, dominant defense inside, then you replace Josh Hart for Mitchell Robinson. Then you get Mitchell Robinson inside, and you also get Precious Achiuwa playing the 4 in that situation. A lot of different lineups, a lot of different rotations once we're healthy. But absolutely, I think those guys are going to come off the bench because Tom Thibodeau, if nothing else, has been very consistent. What works, he goes with. We're winning with this lineup right now. We're destroying teams with this lineup right now. Offensively, we're one of the best teams in the league. When you see that and we continue to win, it kind of makes you hesitant to make any changes other than the changes that you already made. The smaller change that you made, the smaller adjustments that you made, who loses minutes here, who gets minutes here, are we running an 8-man, a 7-man, a 9-man? Other than those changes, everything else is really going to remain the same. But I appreciate you, Juan. Really good comment. Love what you're talking about here. And thank you so much for being part of the community. Everybody who's watching right now, if you could do me a favor, smash that like button because it helps this video get into the YouTube algorithm so more people can view it and they can see what's going on. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, though, please, guys, hit that subscribe button. I know we just hit 20K, and right now we're going to be talking about that 20K and reaching that goal. I promise you, after we get through this next topic, that's going to be the Q&A for the rest of the show, I promise. So we're going to get there. But the next goal is 25K. You know how I am. I'm always looking to the future. So if you guys want to help me in my future goals, please hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. It really does truly support all the content that we're creating for you. Going to the next topic here, though, guys. I'm going to laugh this entire time. I hope I can get through this. I'm probably going to be the most relaxed as I talk about this topic today. The Minnesota Timberwolves are on the verge of collapse. They're about to go under in a way that we never saw. We thought this trade was good. We thought this trade was maybe good for Minnesota, maybe even good for the Knicks. Maybe it worked out for both franchises. The reason I keep coming back to this trade is not because the Knicks every single day continue to showcase why they're winning this trade, but it's because each and every game, the Timberwolves continue to show why they've lost this trade. And now it gets even worse. The Timberwolves have officially hit rock bottom. You know how I define rock bottom? I define rock bottom by the players that you traded for, that you thought were going to be game changers for your team, are not only game changers, but now other teams around the league, because of how bad you're playing, because of how bad the players that you traded for play, and how bad they look on defense, how they're not giving you what you need. Now their names are coming up in potential trade talks. And according to Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype, the two players that potentially could be traded at the deadline for Minnesota are Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle. But here's this. Here's the craziest part about all of this. Even though at first it was Dante DiVincenzo, now it's shifting firmly more at Julius Randle and not so much at DiVincenzo. Let's take a look at these reports before I react and give you everything that I have to say about this crazy situation. Let's break everything down here. Shout out to Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype for giving us all of the following information here. According to him, coming off a shoulder surgery, Randle has been an efficient shooter from the field, but his rebounding rate is the lowest of his career. Coach Chris Finch worked with Randle during their time on the New Orleans Pelicans and knows his game well, which gives him some optimism for better cohesion as the season progresses. However, if Randle, who has a $30.94 million player option, can I just say, I'm so happy that's not our problem anymore. I'm so happy that I don't have to deal with that attitude, all the talking to the refs, the no attitude on defense, the no hustle back, the no running back. Every time we're making a criticism about his effort out there. I'm just so thankful that we're not talking about that. And Anthony Edwards is in the locker room, your best player, saying, oh yeah, we're soft. We're soft internally. We can't say nothing to nobody. We can't say anything. I remember those days very well, like they were so long ago, because we don't have to deal with that anymore. But Minnesota, they do, and now they have a $30+ million problem that they have to deal with. And the same question that we were asking ourselves before the trade happened, they're asking themselves now. What happens with the impact right now with Randle? What's going on right now? He has a player option, and he's making $30.94 million. If we don't trade him, is he going to walk? Is he going to leave? Is he going to take his bag and go somewhere else? And we're going to be looking at all of us and thinking to ourselves, why did we make this trade? Maybe. And that's why the Timberwolves might have to trade him at the deadline. Because again, according to Michael Scotto, if this new team doesn't mess with Julius Randle, his new Timberwolves teammate soon, and it doesn't work out with these guys very soon, he could be a candidate to be flipped in a trade again ahead of the deadline. So Julius Randle needs to play his best band of basketball right now. He needs to come together with this Minnesota Timberwolves team, because if he doesn't, and he doesn't get it together with this team soon, according to Scotto, he could be a candidate to be flipped in a trade again ahead of the deadline. It's also worth noting that Naz Reid, who has a $15 million player option for next season, has supporters in Minnesota's front office who believe he could thrive with more minutes after winning Sixth Man of the Year last season. So that's another thing we have to talk about. Reid this season as well is averaging 19.8 points and 8.5 rebounds when he's played 30 to 39 minutes and 24 career games. So Reid, when he plays 19 minutes or more, he is averaging those type of stats. And given the stats that he's averaging, given the support that Naz Reid has in the front office, it seems like Julius Randle is slowly being pushed out of that organization. He's not playing well with that organization, not playing well with Rudy Gobert. I don't know about you guys, but that Ant Edwards comment, I feel like that was a shot to Julius Randle, a shot to his attitude and the fact that when you want to talk to him or about any issues going on with the lineup in the locker room, maybe they're not coming together as a team to talk about those issues. Again, I'm just repeating what Anthony Edwards said and all the reports that we have right now. Given Ant Edwards' comments, given these reports from NBA insider Michael Scotto, if the Timberwolves trade Julius Randle because it's not working out and they favor Naz Reid has more supporters. They want to see him play more minutes because when he's playing more minutes, he's clearly more effective. If all of those things are true, maybe you have to trade Julius Randle at the deadline if you're Minnesota. Because if you don't, is he walking? Is he going to another team? Is he joining another franchise? Maybe. And maybe the only way to keep him on your team is to pay him the max. Do you really want to play Julius Randle the max? Especially given all the issues you're seeing right now. I understand the level of player that he is. I understand that when he can score with the best of them. Completely understand that. You want to pay Julius Randle the max and then have him on your team, maybe as a cornerstone piece on your team. Because again, if he's getting the max dollars from you, then you have to treat him like a cornerstone piece for your franchise. Is Minnesota going to want to do that? After all of the issues we're seeing right now, I don't believe that's the case. And if Naz Reid has supporters internally, I can't see how Julius Randle stays on this team for the future. He's likely going to be traded, or him himself is going to realize he doesn't fit, it doesn't work, and he's going to walk. Either way, he's going to leave. The only difference here is, how is the perception of Minnesota going to be after all of this happens? Because right now, given the issues, given the reports, not only is it clear that the Knicks fleeced the Minnesota Timberwolves and we've won this trade, and we continue to win this trade each and every single day, I think we're going to have to look at Minnesota as a franchise and say they have tanked their future. They have destroyed any hopes that they had at a championship, at a finals appearance, at anything. And here's the thing. They might have done this worse than any other team in NBA history. So close to the NBA finals. And they trade one of their best players who is thriving, dominating, and helping this Knicks team be one of the best offenses in the entire NBA. He's doing that. And the Timberwolves don't have any of that. They don't have anything. They don't know what to do with themselves. They're looking at the Knicks and thinking, what did I have? They're the epitome of that Wolverine meme where they're looking at the picture, they're crying, and they're touching the picture because they can't have it back. They want it back, but they can't have it back. They want him back, but he's not coming back. You traded him away, and now you're seeing what he can do with this type of offense, lighting up the league and helping the Knicks light up the league, giving the Knicks the best offense in the NBA, while the Timberwolves don't have the best of anything, don't even know who they are, don't even have it, don't even know who they are, don't have a defensive identity, doesn't know what they're going to do from game to game. It seems like a really bad time to be a Minnesota Timberwolves fan, and it feels like a really good time to be a New York Knicks fan. Why we are thriving, doing everything we wanted to do, making sure our team is the best version of ourselves that we've ever seen. What are the Timberwolves doing? Nothing. Spiraling, out of control, all the way to the floor, losing games that they should win, winning games that don't matter, because when they win games, the body language doesn't mean like they won games. Sometimes the body language looks like they've lost the game. I don't even know how that works, but that's what you see out of Minnesota. It does not look good out there. They're spiraling out of control. And if they trade Julius Randle or Randle walks at the end of the season, this will go down as one of the biggest fleeces in NBA history, because the Knicks changed their entire future, changed their destiny. And the Minnesota Timberwolves did the exact same thing. Only they did it in the opposite way. They tanked their future, tanked their franchise, and they have nothing to show for it. And because of all the picks they gave up, they have nothing in the future to look forward to. The Knicks robbed them of their current present time. The Knicks robbed them of any hope that they had at the finals appearance this year. And all of the hopes that they had in the future, they robbed themselves. They took it away from themselves because they made bad moves, they made bad trades, and now there's no other way to look at it. Julius Randle could be traded. He could walk. Dante DiVincenzo, struggling heavily in terms of shooting the ball, coming off of a best season with the Knicks, and now this year having a very slow start. Even though that's the case, a lot of executives around the league believe that he's still somebody that the Timberwolves want to hold on to. I mean, you can say that, but a couple of weeks ago, his name was already in trade talks, up in trade rumors. That doesn't happen if you're having a very good year. If he was having the same year he was having with the Knicks, nobody would be talking about this trade. Not at the same level we're talking about it right now. We might have talked about Julius Randle and Cat, but we would have talked about Dante DiVincenzo. We would not have said anything about DiVincenzo or anything about his play or what he's doing or his impact. The reason we're talking about it now is because he's giving us a reason to talk about it. He has been atrocious, horrible, one of the worst on that team. He was benched a couple of times because he did not do what he needed to do when he was out there. Could not pass the ball, couldn't score the ball, couldn't make a three to save his life. Those are very, very big differences from what we saw in his time with the Knicks. And that goes to show you sometimes where you are, environment, the team you're around, how you feel about things. Those are all things that are factors that make you want to play with a certain franchise. Dante DiVincenzo right now doesn't look like he wants to be there. He does not look like he wants to be in Minnesota. He wants to be anywhere else but there. And it shows in his game. Now, maybe they can get him going. Maybe they need to start him. Maybe they need to play him with different lineups. I don't know. And honestly, I don't care. I don't care what Minnesota's going through. I don't care that they have to figure it out. I don't care that this trade looks bad for them. Because the Knicks, we're thriving. This trade looks amazing for us. Leon Rose looks like the smartest person in the room. And we are looking like a championship contender each and every game we play. The Minnesota Timberwolves are collapsing each and every game. The games they win, they look like they lose. The games they lose, they look like they have to have team meetings, continuous team meetings. And when they have team meetings, they can't say anything because according to your franchise star and Ant Edwards, you're soft. So you lost a soft player in Karl Anthony Towns, and you're still soft. I don't think Towns was soft. I think you were playing Towns soft. Because when Towns came to New York, he got gully real quick, got gangster real quick, and he's not soft anymore. He's attacking everyone and anything. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they have another problem, a major problem, a soft problem. But Towns, he's not part of that right now. So right now, we are witnessing the official collapse of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And for everybody who's watching, if you're a Timberwolves fan, I'm sorry, guys. You have to deal with that. Your franchise is slowly going out of control. For everybody who's a Knicks fan watching this stream, we can all give ourselves a little bit of a cheers and drink our teas, drink our waters, and look at the other side. Because everybody was saying after we made this trade, a lot of people said the Knicks were not going to be a good team. We sacrificed a lot, and we sacrificed a lot, and we were not going to be that same level of team that we need to be. Maybe that was true defensively for some games, but offensively, we started to figure it out. And now, as we get healthier and get more defenders back, we are looking like one of the best teams in the league on both sides of the floor. Now nobody's saying anything about the trade. They're praising the Knicks, praising Karl Anthony Towns, and as they should, they are destroying the Minnesota Timberwolves. They killed their franchise, killed their future, and made one too many trades, made certain trades that they never should have made, and in the process, destroyed everything that they were close to and everything that they hoped for, and gave the Knicks every single thing that they needed to get themselves into championship contention. Shout out to Leon Rose, shout out to this Knicks front office, and shout out to this Knicks front office realizing what was on the table, what was part of their future, and what was the best move they needed to make. Some people may have not made that trade at that situation. Some people may have not pulled the trigger there. But you know what? That's why they're not GM. That's why they're not president. That's why they don't run the Knicks. Leon Rose, Gerson Rosa, Worldwide West, that brain trust, that front office, they know what they're doing. They know how to run this franchise, and they know this Knicks team needs to win, and we need to win now. And they will continue to make those amazing moves. And we saw them do it each and every time. Praise to all of those guys and praise to this Knicks franchise. They got it done when nobody thought they could get it done. And each and every game, we continue to prove Leon Rose right and the rest of the league wrong. That's a great feeling, guys. But before we close out the show today and we end it and we give you guys the rest of the videos that you want, more clips and all these other content that we have coming to the channel, you know what we have to do, right? We have to go to the live chat and celebrate the 20,000 subscribers. So this is what we have to do here. Shout out to everybody, every single person, not only joining the stream, everybody watching the playback, everybody who's ever watched a single piece of content for the Knicks Recap. This stream, this part of the stream, every single thing that I do for you guys when it comes to more content releases or all of these type of things that I try to get out for you guys in a timely fashion, I do it because of the support that I receive each and every day from this community, from you guys, from the subscribers, from the members. You guys are some of the best in the world. So I thank you guys so much for your support. And right now, we're going to start the Q&A portion of this live stream. So thank you guys again for helping this channel hit 20,000 subscribers. I mean, it's unreal. I cannot believe the channel has hit 20K. Our next goal is 25,000 subscribers. But as promised, we did a poll. In the poll, you guys said, did you want me to do a video or did you guys want me to do the live stream? You guys chose the live stream, so here we are. Live stream Q&A, guys. Ask me anything, any questions that you have. You want to ask me, why do I talk like that? Why am I so energetic? Do I talk this way with my family? Am I this hype all the time? Do I have a few screws loose when it comes to the Knicks? Ask away. I want to hear those questions. This is the time to get them out because this is the only time I'm probably going to ask. Excuse me. This is probably the only time I'm ever going to answer them. So let's keep it going here. Yuri says that guy was getting annoying. I'm guessing that guy was a Wolves fan. I don't know which guy was even there complaining, but appreciate everybody holding it down for me while I was holding the show down and trying to cover all these topics. That's what the moderators are in the room for, to make sure we control the show so nobody's going off. So Yuri, I appreciate you. Jennifer says, thank you, Troy. You give us hope. I love you. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I really appreciate that. I love you too. Thank you so much for the kind words and the compliments. I always try to do my best. You know, I always try to give you guys the best of the content, the live reactions, everything that I can do just to make sure it's more one-on-one. It feels more official and it's engaging. You know, I try to be a little bit different. Everybody does imagine if I came on the show like this. What's going on, guys? Yeah, the Knicks did this in the game. Did really well. And they did this and they shot the ball well. And you wouldn't watch me. I wouldn't watch me. For me, that's not fun. You know, I like to be a little bit more energetic with my stuff because I think nobody provides that on YouTube right now. And I like to be a little bit different from what everybody else is providing. So I like to give that energy and that passion just in a little bit away. But I appreciate you guys. Thomas says, you the man, Troy. Thank you. I appreciate you. Rex says, people who said Cat was soft looking like damn fools. Gotta agree with that. New looking Nick says, I'm confused about Devo, bro. How is he bad? Like, how? I don't know how he's this bad, man. I don't know. I don't know if he lost a step, if he's not playing correctly with his team. I mean, certain games with Dante DiVincenzo, he gets benched. He doesn't look like he's focused. And if I'm being serious here, he doesn't look like he wants to be in Minnesota. Doesn't look like he likes it there. If anything, he looks like he wants to leave. CP the artist says, am I wrong, but the enthusiasm for success of the Knicks will come during the playoffs? Question mark. Absolutely 100%. Especially when you're talking about the Knicks, CP, and you're talking about the Knicks getting into the postseason and making sure they're going off and they're killing teams that they're supposed to kill. That's when you're going to see even more. That's when you're going to see even more energy out of me. So I promise you, if you think the Knicks recap, my energy is already high with these level of wins, I'm telling you, it's only here. You haven't seen how hype I can get until you go back and you watch those 76ers live streams that I did. You watch those post games. You watch what I was doing when I was dropping those videos. Because during those times, you can see how high I get, how crazy I get with that energy, and how much I feel it from this Knicks team. The watch parties during those times are going to be incredible. So definitely, there's levels to this. There's a regular season level, and there's a postseason level. There's hype, and there's really hype. And you're definitely going to see the difference. Shout out to you, man. Old Head says, Cat being soft is a teaching moment. Be wary of false narratives often put out by haters. Listen, Towns was being called soft because he was being coached soft. Can we talk about it? I think that's fair. He's not soft with the Knicks because he's not being coached to be soft. He's being coached to attack and attack aggressively. And that's why we've been seeing it out of him. But with Minnesota, I don't know if he was asked to do that because he wasn't doing that with Minnesota. CP the artist says, am I wrong? But Cat hasn't seen any adversity yet this year to see if he is soft. His soft title happened during the playoffs. CP, here's the thing. I will say that Karl Anthony Towns developed the entire soft thing when he was playing with Minnesota. Now, did he develop it in the playoffs? We could say that, but then I can say if we look at what happened in the playoffs with Joker, he was holding down Joker. So I don't think he was soft in that matchup. I think a lot of times he was soft because he wasn't attacking the rim. But if we're looking at what he's doing right now with the Knicks, he is attacking. He is going inside. He is using his body. He is getting to the line. So that's why I think a lot of people want the soft narrative to drop. If you're one of those people that think you don't get to drop the soft narrative unless you do it in the games that matter, unless you do it in the postseason, that's fair. I think there's always going to be two sides to it. I think there's going to be one side of the fan base that don't want to give him that courtesy yet, that want to see him do it against the real teams, but also want to see him do it in the postseason. I think that's fair. But I also think it's fair to look at what you see, understand what you see, and then see Karl Anthony Towns, see the type of impact that he's having, what he's doing on the offensive end, and judge that as well. Judge that alone. So I think it's fair to do both. I'm doing both as well. I'm reserving my judgment to see what he does in the postseason. But in the regular season right now, there's no way to deny it, CP. He is one of the best, if not the best, center on offense right now. He is one of the main reasons our offense is the best in the league right now. He's not the main reason, but one of the major factors into it, at least in my opinion. 718 says, let's see, Utah Rockets, Utah Mavs, and Celtics. I don't know what the question is. Let me see what that question was. What is our toughest upcoming matchup? So 718 actually answered him by saying Utah, Mavs, and the Celtics. With December, for the next couple of games in December, just to answer your question, Rex, I don't actually think the Knicks have a lot of tough games coming up. At least in the next week, I don't think we have a lot of rough games. If you're talking about toward the end of the month, we might have a game against the Magic. Next month in January, I know we have a couple of tough games, but this month of December is one of our easiest months to play basketball. And I think we're going to take full advantage of it. We're likely going to go on a 10-game win streak. Given the fact that our schedule is so light, 10-game win streak is coming. CP the artist says, agree. However, during the Dallas series, he avoided the media and made that infamous, I shot 1,500 threes in practice. Yeah, that's right. He did. I'm not saying that there aren't faults everywhere. You can lurk at certain things and say, well, he shouldn't have said that. He might have been able to get away with saying something different or do something different here. We can pick and choose at what we don't like about him, but I just am talking about the soft thing here. There's a lot of things we can talk about CP that he's done, and I agree with that. But just the soft part, I think we have to put it on coaching here. Because I can look at the regular season last year and say Karl Anthony Towns was not doing what he was doing last year with Minnesota, but he's doing that now with the Knicks. He wasn't as aggressive last year with Minnesota, but he's doing that and being as aggressive right now with the Knicks. The only major difference there is scenery and coaching. And I got to say, Tom Thibodeau is probably a main reason for that. He's not settling for the three because he's being asked to drive and use his body. And he's doing exactly what the coach wants him to do. John says, Yuri, I believe that Leon knows exactly what he's doing. So no, I don't see a problem with Cat's contract. I don't think Cat's contract is going to be a problem if we continue to win. I know the Supermax is not something great. Nobody likes to see the Supermax. Nobody wants a Supermax or pay somebody a Supermax, right? But if you win a championship, do you care? I don't think you care if you win a championship. Let's see. Cardiac Nick says, one thing soft about Cat are his fouls. I don't know if he's soft. It's terrible fouls, though. It's uncalled for. I don't know why he does that. He chicken wings players. You know what I'm talking about? Your hand is here, and he wraps like that when he's going in. He got to stop doing that. Like, he's doing that too much. And the reason he's doing that is because in practice, he's allowed to do that. Those are habits. Those are absolute habits. When you drive and you drive like that consistently, you develop bad habits. He has a bad habit of putting that shoulder up and shoving with it or chicken winning with it. You can't do that. If you chicken wing somebody when they're going into the paint or you're going into drives like that, you're going to get called for an offensive foul. They've done it too many times. So he has to get better with that. I do agree. But that also goes to defense. So we have to talk about that as well, too, because defense is important. And Tom Thibodeau right now defensively, there has to be something to be said about that. Tom Thibodeau has to get us a little bit better there. 718 says, if the Knicks win a championship, then second apron won't be so bad. A lot of people are going to forgive it, 718. I don't think a lot of people are going to care about second apron when you win championships. Championship solves all the problems. It solves everything. You don't care about how much luxury you're paying if you're in the second apron, if you have to go underneath it, if you have to make certain trades so that way you get off of contracts, or you got to get other players on this team because we still have to compete at another high level next year. I think a lot of the conversations that happen after the Knicks win is how we keep this roster together. So that's very, very important. Let's see. Who else we got here? New Look Nick says he needs to tone down on those and improve his rim protection. Not sure who you're talking about here. Let me know in the chat who you're talking about. Rex says Towns was called soft for purely superficial reasons that had nothing to do with him as a player. You can have a deep voice and be macho and still be very soft, especially in basketball. Listen. I don't think it was his voice, although maybe some people criticize him for his voice. But I think a lot of people who watch basketball, they criticize him and call him soft because he didn't attack inside. He never sought contact. And anytime you refuse to take contact, they're going to call you soft. Look at what they called Mikal Bridges earlier in the season. Did they not call him soft? They called him soft because he was avoiding contact. That's exactly why it was happening. So we have to make sure we're keeping it clear. There's a number of reasons why certain people do what they do. And it's because they're not doing a certain thing that makes them look soft. Avoiding contact looks soft. But when you go to a different team and you find out that it's not really you, it's likely your coaching, you change it a little bit. So I don't think it was superficial, Rex. You can go back and look at Minnesota. He was not attacking. He was settling for threes. When you settle for threes and you don't attack and you don't say it's the coach and you just say it's you, that's why. It's because people are going to look at you because you're always taking the blame for it. Credit to him, but we clearly see it wasn't Karl Anthony Towns. Switch him to the New York Knicks. He's one of the best drivers we have on the team. Taking contact, going to the line. There's no other way to explain that. Let's see here. John says, well, can't really read that. Having conversations within each other here. John says, we have a 3 to 5 year window with this team. I don't see this year as a championship or bust. All right, can I please acknowledge this crap? It really pisses me off. We're not championship or bust. That doesn't make sense. You can't be championship or bust when you have a 4 to 5 year window. How do you have a window and you're championship or bust? That doesn't make sense. Okay? You have to be better than championship or bust. If you have a window, then that means you might feel bad about not getting to the finals, but it's not a bust. It's a bust and a failure if you go for the window and you don't win one championship within that window. That's a failure. That's a championship or bust moment. Right now, gaining chemistry, putting it all together, that's not championship or bust. Was it championship or bust for Miami when they lost in the finals? No. They just went back again and then got it done again. They got it all done. That's what happens sometimes. It's not going to go the way you want the first go round. Sometimes you have to do that a couple of times before you're able to get to the final destination, get to the NBA finals, get that championship. It's all about that sometimes. Mike Miller says, Cat is a Knick now. He is playing the best basketball of his life. Got to agree with that. 718 Fresh says, 5 year window, not with this salary. That's a bad take, John. I think 5 year window would be okay, actually. 4 to 5 year window is not that bad, 718. Given the contracts that we have, the fact that the Knicks are likely going to want to keep this core together, especially if they continue to win, you got to figure that they're going to be taking discounts with this roster. Jalen Brunson did it. Maybe Mikal Bridges does it. Not at the same scale as Jalen Brunson, but maybe he still takes less. You got to remember, everybody that we have on this team right now, it may not be the entire team at the end of next season. We might have a different change of team, a different change of roster. There might be other players that come in and they play solidified parts for us. You have other players that come in and they're playing solidified parts for us off the bench. So we got to remember that. If that's happening, if we have players off the bench that are doing that for us, you never know exactly what our window is going to be. And if we keep and retain our core, our 3 or 4 players that we have on this team, which is possible, we have to sell it on it, though. We have to sell them. We have to sell other players on it. But if we're able to do that, you never exactly know how long this window is. I'm still going to call it a 4 to 5 year window, given the players that we have, the contracts that we have, and the loyalty to this team that we have. I think we forget that just because we think the contracts don't work, these players are going to ask out. They're going to leave. The math doesn't work. Leon Rose has consistently kept teams together by making sacrifices, making trades, and making moves that nobody thought that he could make, keeping the players that we want to keep on this team and trying to ride out with that core. So I don't think it's a bad take to say it's 4 to 5 years. I think that's a pretty good window to actually say. Most NBA insiders actually, when you ask them about the Knicks and you ask them about their window, sometimes they say 3 to 4 years, given the players and the contract that they have and the youth that they have. So just wanted to point that out there. Well, yeah, you see, she had 2 or 3 year window. 2 to 3 year window, 718, is not a crazy different from a 3 to 4 year window. It's about a year difference. I'm pushing it more on the other end. You're taking the low end and I'm taking the high end. You say 2 to 3, I'm saying 4 to 5. You're taking the low, I'm taking the high. It doesn't mean either one is wrong. If things go right, you can see it going 4 years. If things go wrong, you can see it going 2 years. I don't see why there would be an issue of saying, well, this is right and this is wrong. Because I'm hoping it goes the right way and we see it for a longer period of time. Nelly says, salute to Yuri, the moderator. Shout out to Yuri, man. Hassan says, peace, Troy. Happy holidays to you and your family. Hope we get Devo back somehow this trade deadline without trading anything for him. Maybe they buy him out. See, the problem is we can't get him back. We traded him away this year. Because we did that, there's a rule in place that means we can't go out there and trade for him back. The only way that would ever happen is if the Wolves released him and then we were able to buy him out and bring him back. But not buy him out, but able to sign him on this team again at that point in time with a low contract because we can't afford anything right now. There's nothing that we could even pay any type of player that wants to join this team. So I don't even think it's realistic even in that point in time. Dante DiVincenzo, I don't think he's ever going to get in a place where he's going to be coming back to the Knicks. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think he's ever going to come back here because the Wolves are not going to release him. Even though he's playing bad, they're not going to release him. They would rather build up his value and trade him down the road. So I anticipate and expect that happening. Maybe not this season, but maybe next season or a season after that. It really depends on how high Dante DiVincenzo's value gets. If it gets sky high, depending on when that happens, they might bite the bullet and trade him right away because you never know when his value is going to get back to being low again. Good question, though. 718 says, we're going to see. Devo makes 18, can't afford him. Devo makes way too much money. You can't afford him. And even if he was released, you still probably couldn't afford him because he would not come here on that little money. He probably likes the Knicks, loves the Villanova connection. Doesn't mean he wants to sacrifice all those dollars just to come here. It's a business at the end of the day. Devo definitely looks unhappy, though, Nelly. I will give you that. I said it during the earlier parts of the show. When I was talking about the Knicks, I was talking about Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle and talking about those potential trades. And when I was talking about those trades, I had mentioned that Julius Randle right now is likely the player that's most likely to be moved by the Minnesota Timberwolves. It was Dante DiVincenzo, but now it looks like it's Minnesota for a number of reasons. But the main one, the fit, the chemistry, and also he can walk after the season. 30 million player option. Who knows what he ends up doing? Maybe he walks. Maybe he goes to a different franchise. Maybe he wants to re-sign. No idea what Julius Randle's going to do, what he's going to want to do, what things are planned up for him. But it's clear if the Timberwolves want to keep him on this team, the only way they're going to be able to do that is maybe give him a max contract. I don't know how even that's going to work. Give him a max deal? That means he's part of your cornerstone. He's one of your main pieces on the team. I don't know how you win with that lineup at all. Let's see. 718 Fresh says, if OG's if OG took a team-friendly contract, I wouldn't be so worried. But our salary cap is concerning. I don't care if he took a low I don't care if he took a low contract or not. He deserves every single penny. OG Anunoby, whether he took less, whether he took more, the same amount, I don't care. I like players that are coming in and doing exactly what they need to do. OG was more than we bargained for. Not only is he giving you that lockdown defense, but is he giving you that lockdown offense as well too? He's elite on offense as well. He's driving and faking. He's driving, going up, being patient, waiting for his defender to blow by him, and then going up for the easy bucket. And he's always passing the ball to the open shooter, making sure everybody else is getting shots, and his level of defense never changes. OG Anunoby, I don't care if he takes less money anymore. He took the amount he needs to stay with this team, and I want him here for the rest of his career. His defense is out of this world. Nostalgia Nick says, salute recap. Randall back to the Lakers. If he is, I don't care. Doesn't bother me. I don't want Julius Randle. Wherever he goes, it will not bother the Knicks. But thank you and salute to you. And salute to everybody who helped us get to 20K. Again, if everybody doesn't know what we're doing right now, the main reason I started this stream, even though I talked about Jericho Sims and him being benched and all these other topics, one of the main reasons I started this stream, though, was to do a 20K subscriber live Q&A with you guys to talk about the game, talk about different prospects of the game, different things of the game, and just get more information from you guys about what you want to talk about. You don't have to ask me about the game, by the way. If you want to ask me about my life, you want to ask me about certain things that we've done on this channel, other content, things you want to see, why I do the things I do, why I talk the way I talk. Maybe you have a question on, why I'm so energetic. Ask any of those questions. This is the time to do it. This is the live Q&A for everybody helping the channel to reach 20,000 subscribers. I still can't believe it. Still unreal to me that we reached 20,000 subscribers. I mean, your support is overwhelming at times, and it really humbles me. So thank you guys so much. I know my son always asks, what are you doing today? I always tell him I'm recording. I'm recording for the masses. He's just getting another video out so they understand what's going on, and they love everything that's coming out. So appreciate you guys. Nelly Nell says, OG, and by the way, they're a member, by the way. Shout out to all the members that we have on the channel. OG is pleading his case for Defensive Player of the Year and Most Improved Player. Gotta agree with that. Most Improved Player of the Year, but probably Defensive Player of the Year a little bit more, because defensively, he's shutting defensively, right now, OG Anunoby is shutting down players better than anybody that I've seen. So I think you can probably make a better case for that. With Most Improved Player, he's going to have a lot more competition. Even with the Magic team that we just beat down, Franz Wagner. I mean, he's probably going to be Most Improved Player of the Year if he continues to play like this, because nobody expected that team to have the record that they have and the play that they're doing with the roster that they have right now. So we have to remember that. Let's keep it Let's keep it going here. Nostalgia Nick says, appreciate the consistency. Well, I thank you for that, man. I always try to be consistent. Always try to get you guys the best updates, the most accurate updates, and everything that I hear from around the league, all the notable sources that I get to speak with or that I get updates from on a day-to-day basis. Shout out to Darlene Bryant, who says, I love your energy. Thank you so much, Darlene. I really appreciate that. You've been a day one, always supporting the channel, always saying salute recap or salute Troy. I always see those comments. It makes me smile when I see them. So thank you very much. Thank you always for the support. And much salute to you. And I love the fact that you guys continue to support the show and you love the energy and you love what I continue to bring each and every day to this channel. I try to keep it a little bit different so it's not the same thing that you guys see each and every day, or that way when you go to other creators, other content creators who do this, that you get a little bit of a different story with me than you would get with those type of creators. So I really do appreciate the support. Killer B says, congrats, you're doing a great job, champ. I appreciate that, my guy. Thank you so much. John says, I believe when Mitch comes back, he will play 20 to 25 minutes tops coming off of the bench, and we will keep him healthy. I agree with that. I think 20 to 25 minutes is a good bar for him. Likely going to play underneath that. I think he probably starts out with a 15-minutes restriction, then a couple of games, 20 minutes, then a couple of games, 25 minutes, and that's where he tops out. I don't think Mitchell Robinson plays over 25 minutes again for the rest of his career. Not only because we have the personnel on this team where he doesn't have to play that many minutes, but also if we're blowing out teams, he's not going to be asked to do much. Likely going to be playing with Karl Anthony Towns for 10 minutes. And then if he plays for 20 minutes, the other 10 minutes, he's going to play with the bench. Maybe playing with Preston Achiuwa, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Jalen Brunson, Deuce McBride, that type of lineup. Maybe we can play an all-bench lineup with him featured in it, or other type of lineups like that. But it's clear, I think you're definitely going to see more of Mitchell Robinson once he returns and he's able to have an impact. I think you're going to see him with Towns, and you're also going to see him by himself with the bench. The minutes are going to have to be split up a little bit differently, but I'm excited. Very, very excited to see these guys come back and their impact for this team. Rick says, just subscribe today. Great coverage, content, and in-depth analysis. Rick, my guy, thank you so much. Really appreciate you. Salute to you. I try to do my best. I always try to give you guys the best content, and to hear you guys not only appreciate it, but always want more, always desire more, whether it's the clips, it's the videos, the shorts, whatever it is, the live streams, you guys show up. You guys enjoy it, and you guys clearly want me to continue providing more content to this level. I will continue to do that. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. You don't have any idea how much those words mean to me. 718 Fresh says, trade Mitch before he goes down for Valanciunas. That's the way to improve. Mitch and 2 picks should do that job. Let's go. I mean, we think that, but we don't know if that's the case. Ask yourself, if you're another franchise, do you want to trade one of your big men for another big man that likely is not going to have any value? You have no idea when they're going to play. And when they do play, what are they going to do for you? How often are they going to be there for you before they get injured? And are you going to be able to flip them for a better return? All questions and all risks, by the way. But shout out to you, 718. I appreciate you. You've been very active during this chat, and you've been challenging me on some of my opinions, and I really do appreciate that. I've said it time and time again. I don't want everybody to agree with me. I don't care if you agree with me. I have my take. You have your take. I may not like your take, and if I see it, I'm going to tell you the exact same thing. And I expect everybody else to do the exact same thing with me, because that's how you grow basketball conversation. Nobody learns a lot when we all agree. But when there's a little bit more basketball conversation there and we're disagreeing, going back and forth, it actually helps. So I appreciate you. Nelly Nell says, Troy, do you think Thibodeau should have played the bench a little sooner against the Hornets? 100%. They should have. I mean, Mikal Bridges played, 46 minutes? 45 minutes and 30 seconds? It was high. He played a lot of minutes. I still have no idea why. I don't know why our bench, in terms of rookies, only played 1 to 2 minutes. Preston Achiuwa only played 12 minutes, likely because of the minutes restriction. I think that if he wasn't on a minutes restriction, he might have played the same amount of minutes as maybe Miles McBride, who was playing 20 plus. So I think the Knicks bench should have been utilized a lot more throughout the game. I think we should have played them in the third quarter a little bit. We definitely should have played them in the fourth quarter when we were blowing them out by 20 plus. I think we were up by 25 plus at one point, and we were still playing a number of our starters. Now, the main reason that the Knicks are playing the starters, though, is because Seth Curry was hitting so many threes in our face. And when you're hitting that many threes, you can't really pull out the starters, because if you think you do that, you think this team is going to go on a run and they're going to knock you out of the game. So Tom Thibodeau didn't do it. I wish he did, but he didn't. He waited, I think, till maybe the 4-minute mark in the fourth quarter when the game was out of reach. And then he subs everybody out and plays the bench. I guess better late than never, but I don't want to see a freak accident happen because he's keeping these guys in the game for too long. You never know what could happen if guys are playing too many extended minutes. An injury like Jalen Brunson could happen, where you're running, you get hit from the side, you go down, and somebody falls on top of you. And maybe you injure your lower back or your wrist or something else like that. Something to consider there. Appreciate the comment, though. Very, very good conversation coming out here. Killa says, who needs a fragile sticker, Joel or Robinson? If you're talking about who deserves it this year, I don't know. Well, I'll probably put it on Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid continues to be injured. He's currently rehabbing an injury right now. With Mitchell Robinson, he's not been re-injured. He's just taking a long time rehabbing from the same thing that we already saw. So we got to remember that. Hassan Hill with a $2 super chat. Appreciate you, my guy. Thank you so much. He says, congratulations on your 20K, Troy. Well deserved. Well, thank you very much, man. I really do appreciate that. I don't know where I would be without members like you, without subscribers like you, without fans like you. Thank you guys for always supporting the show, because I look at it every day and I'm thankful, I'm humbled, And I'm honestly so happy that part of my job is to give you guys Knicks content and that you guys enjoy it so much. What's better than that? There's not many things in this life that is. So really, truly, thank you guys. Sharon, another great member that we have of the channel. Thank you so much. She says, I love your straightforwardness. Congrats on the 20K. That's fantastic. Well, thank you. I really do appreciate that. I don't try to hold back on anything. I try to give everybody an equal amount of smoke, even if I like the player, if it's Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns, Tom Thibodeau, whoever it is. I may like the person. I may like them as a part of the Knicks, but if they don't do something that needs to be called out, I'm going to call them out. And I'm going to do so as loud as I need to so people can hear me, hear what I have to say, and understand we need to do better, and we will do better. Shout out to you. I appreciate the love. Mike Miller says, injuries are part of the sport. We can't predict a player will fail. Let's see how Mitch fits in. You're right about that. We can't predict it, but we understand what the past tells us. And if we ignore the past, then we're just hoping for an injury to happen. We can't predict it, but we know this game. We know what happens with freak injuries. If you can pull your starters, you should pull your starters. Freak injuries will always happen. You have to try to prevent them. The only way to do that is to actually have minutes managed. And Tom Thibodeau is the one guy who can do that. He's the person that you have to look at if you do not like the minutes. Let's see. Boy81 says, Dante not a point guard. They're using him wrong. They are using him wrong, but he's not coming back to the Knicks, and he's likely not going to be traded. Julius Randle might be traded, though. That's something to wonder and think about there. I can't believe that Randle could be traded. That's nuts to me. Because before, a couple of weeks ago, it was Dante DiVincenzo. A couple of weeks later, to hear that it's Julius Randle, that's quite the report there. Let's see here. Let's see. 718 says, as long as they get to the conference finals, that's a W. I think people rate the Knicks' success very differently. I think some people rate the Knicks' success in terms of how many games they win in the postseason, how competitive they are in the postseason, how far they get in the postseason. I rate this Knicks team as how good they are compared to the last version of them that I saw. I can only go by last year. So if I see a Knicks team this year that is better than the version we saw last time, then I'm going to say they're a better team. If I don't see it, then I'll call it out. And that goes with a lot of factors. How we play as a team, how we play offensively, defensively, how many series we win, how we dominate, what we do, how far we get. So many different factors to that. But clearly, you want to see improvement. That's what everybody wants to see. I know I do. But I appreciate the comment there. Jay Dragon says, when Sims gets traded, I hope he does well. I like him. I like him too during certain times during the game. There are certain situations where I do not like his style of play. I do not like his basketball IQ. I don't know why he runs up the court looking like he's going to do something, then look back, pass the ball anyways, and make a turnover. This doesn't make sense. He has to play better. Boy81 says, Cat's Bodega is open for business, and he's been dominating every single time he gets a chance. Sharon says, we don't need to trade right now. We're going great, and we must see what Mitchell Robinson has to bring to the table. We do. I definitely agree with that. Mitchell Robinson, when he comes back, is going to have a role. The question I have, though, is what that role is going to be. I don't think he's going to start. I think he comes off the bench with Precious Achiuwa. And if that happens, you get Achiuwa at the 4, backing up OG Anunoby, and then you get Mitchell Robinson at the 5, backing up Karl Anthony Towns. And at sometimes you switch, and you're able to see Towns and Achiuwa as the double big lineup out there. Maybe you'll sometimes see Achiuwa and Mitchell Robinson. Sometimes you'll see Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson as well, too. You'll see a lot of different big lineups out there, depending on the matchups that we have and if we're struggling on defense. But the good thing here is Tom Thibodeau now has the weapons to utilize if that type of situation occurs. We really couldn't say that before. Let's see here. Rick Z says, salutes Knicks Nation. First, we need to win the cup and then win the NBA title. I can't wait when we have everybody back and are healthy. Our Knicks are going to be a scary team. Go Knicks. Shout out to you, Rick. I appreciate the comment. Thank you very much for that. I agree. I think the Knicks are going to be scary once we're healthy because we're scary now and we're not even fully together yet. Once you put it all together, we're going to be even better. Jay Dragon says, Sims won't be on the team much longer. I do agree with that in certain situations that he won't be on the team much longer because he's an expiring, right? Jericho Sims is an expiring contract. Because he's an expiring contract and we're getting more big men on the team, I don't know where he's going to fit in the future as we get more players back. Because when we get healthier, what is his role going to be? Situational. At the end of the year, if we add more big men to this team, or we take more of a chance on our rookie, Ariel Hukporti, and you want to give him more time, and you want to give other players more time, maybe players that we sign in the offseason, maybe they're bigs. What are we going to do with some players here? Are we still going to make a trade? Are we going to trade away some of these other players? Maybe that trade involves Jericho Sims. Maybe that trade involves Mitchell Robinson. We don't know exactly yet. But if you're asking me, do I think that Jericho Sims has a long career with the Knicks? I don't think so. I think that he's likely going to be traded at some point in time for something of value that the Knicks can use. Right now, they're building up his value. He's trying to do his best when he's out there. Offensively, he's still limited, and that's going to hurt his value a little bit. But if he continues to play when Tom Thibodeau calls for him, and he does exactly what he needs to do, play his role, maybe he does get traded at some point in time down the line. Mitchell Robinson, his impact and what he does, how long he's available for, that's going to make sure everybody understands when he gets traded or not. If he has a high level of impact, he's probably not going to get traded. But if he doesn't, you can look for the trade. It's kind of the same thing here with Jericho Sims. You don't want to be situational. You don't want to have your minutes go away. And you definitely want to have an impact when you're out there on the floor. So the same way I'm watching Jericho Sims, it's going to be the same way I'm watching Mitchell Robinson when he returns, when he comes back, the minutes that he gets, how he's performing, and how that looks with him instead of Sims in there. I think everybody's going to make the comparison. Let's see. The Real Django, shout out to you, my brother. Member as well, too. I can't wait to see how Mitchell plays next to Cat. It's going to be great, man. Boy81 says, only Net fans talking ish about the picks that we gave up. They just better use them picks right. I don't care if they do. They have nothing for me to show for it. I don't care if they use them right. They tank. They do whatever they need to do. Not going to really bother me. 718 Fresh says, will you start taking phone calls on the show? Very, very good question. I had this question asked to me a couple of times, actually. I don't know yet. You know, I know that CP, the franchise, does it. And I know Nick Fan TV does it. A lot of other forums don't do it. It's a little bit hard to regulate. Remember, it's just me on the channel, guys. So it's hard to regulate doing the live talk, making sure that we get the callers in here. I was thinking about a way to do it, though. There is a way I've been thinking about. It's a little bit more expensive, but it does help me get it the same way. I don't know, though. I might do a poll, actually. Very, very good, actually, 718. I might do a poll to see if I can get other people involved, get them on the show, and see if I can get their takes live. That might make the element of live show a little bit different. Very, very good. And if I do that, I might do that during these live sessions as well, too. So not only during postgame. If I'm able to set that up, I might get your takes live on air. Just like this with the chat. But if anybody wants to call in as well, too, I might take those calls, too. It hasn't been something that I've been thinking about actively because it is a lot of work. And I'm already doing a lot of things behind the scenes when I'm running the streams. But maybe something to think about. I'll run a poll and I'll ask. That's a very good question, though. I appreciate you, my guy. Jay Dragon says, I can only worry about Mitch staying on the court. That's it. His other drawback is his free throw shooting. If teams want to play Hack-a-Mitch in the fourth quarter, they're going to do that. Jay Dragon says, you need a hot chick on each side to help you out. I probably do, but they probably cost a lot of money to pay to have them alongside of me. Don't really need that as well. Honestly, you know what? It'd be great to have a moderator that I could have controlling the phone lines. I might look out for that at some point. So keep an eye out. If I do see significant interest in wanting to do a live stream where I'm taking calls, maybe I'll have a moderator join me and they'll do something on the back end for me to make sure we're making these calls more checked in is the best word I can put it off for right now. Just making sure we're looking at these calls and viewing these calls ahead of time before we have them come to the show and them saying anything willy-nilly. We're going to have to make sure we do a little bit of a screening, make sure you're real and everything is good before we jump in and get you on the show. Unfortunately, with the age of digital calling and scams and everything like that, when you put out a number, it's very easy to get a lot of bot calls, a lot of scam calls. And if you don't have a moderator, your show could be really stopped in the first couple of minutes when you start. So I might, if I do it, I might have to do it a different way. But very good question there. And 718 says, hire a hot chick. All right. People definitely want to see more people on the show. Okay. I get where you guys are coming from. Appreciate you guys. Jay Dragon says, no, you make them pay you. Don't be silly. He wants me to use my platform as a base. The thing is with me, I don't like to do that with other creators. If I'm doing it with my fellow creators, I would want to give them a platform so other people would know who they are, get their name out there a little bit. I would feel a little bit bad trying to charge somebody. Maybe in the future, when I have so much work to do that I don't care anymore, maybe I won't feel as bad. But for right now, where we are as a channel, I think that's where we're going to go. But obviously, we're growing even as of this year. Last year, there was no post game. Last year, there was no Friday live streams. Last year, there was not a lot of interactive chats or member-only exclusive content or even members alone. We've upgraded all of that going into this year, and I know headed into next year, we're going to take another step as a show. I'm not sure exactly what that means because I never know until I finally reach that standing point and I know what updates I want to make to the show. But obviously, when I have these conversations with you guys, it makes it a little bit easier to understand what you guys are thinking, what you guys are potentially looking for, and other things that I might be able to incorporate into the show. So I appreciate you guys. We just Josh and Troy is what Jay Dragon says. No, I know you guys are. I appreciate you, man. Killer B says, I think it's a good idea. You're getting a lot more respect right now and will be able to have serious guests occasionally. Definitely, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for that. I don't know how much, people have told me that Recap, you're growing in the community. You're growing on the you're growing in the spaces and YouTube and all these things. It's hard for me to see that. Cuz in the heart of everything, guys, I'm still a fan. I get that, I have notable players, I understand that I have notable guests on my show. I have insiders on my show. I understand that. And to an extent, I put my insider brain when I'm doing that. I don't really put my fan hat on when I'm doing that. When I'm watching the game, I'm just as much of a fan as you guys are. So I think that's why I don't see myself as part of that group, as one of the people that are up and coming, because I really see myself as a fan at the core. So maybe that's the reason why I don't see it like you guys do. But I do appreciate that. That really does mean a lot. Derek Q says, can we get Dante back to help our bench? First of all, that's a super chat, and I really do appreciate that. I thought I answered this question already, but because you gave a super chat, I have no problem answering it again. Shout out to you, Derek, for the super chat. We can't afford Dante. We can't trade for him because of the rules in the NBA that prevent us from trading back for a player that we just traded for. The only way we could get him is if Minnesota released him and he was okay making very, very little money. He wouldn't be okay with that. He's making a lot of money now. He's not coming back to the Knicks. Not anytime soon. We'd probably have to wait a couple of years before that happened. And at that point, maybe the Knicks already have a championship. I understand why a lot of people wanted to keep Dante DiVincenzo, especially after hearing about all the reports that maybe the Knicks could be active at the trade deadline and maybe flip some of the players that they have. A Mitchell Robinson, a Precious Achiuwa, some of these picks that we have. I understand it, but for right now, all we can do is really roll with what we have. And the information that we have right now is that Dante DiVincenzo is not coming back. He will not come back. And the Knicks are moving forward with the roster that we have. But very, very good super chat. I appreciate you. Let's see here. Killer B says that's what makes you great. Well, I appreciate that, my brother. Thank you. Mike Miller says, we need Ian Bagley and Perkins on the live. You know what? I had Ian Bagley on my show. I believe it was the first year they were coming up. We had a very favorable schedule at that point, so I was able to get him on. I have talked to Bagley in the past. I have been trying to get on his show. He's been trying to get me on. He's been trying to get me on his show. I've been trying to get on his show as well too. It's not been possible as of yet. There's a lot of scheduling conflict, so I'm not able to get him on the show right now. But I promise you guys, Bagley is a friend of the show. I'm very happy to call him a friend as well too. And I think at some point in time down the road, that is a special episode that you guys are going to get. I don't want to date it or tell you when to expect it. He's just too busy at this point in time. But once I'm able to secure it, I will announce it. You guys will see it. Bagley, I can definitely say at some point in time in the future, that's going to happen. With Kendrick Perkins, that's a little bit of a different story. He works like crazy. and he doesn't have a lot of free time. And when he does have free time, he's doing other things for his own business. So it's difficult to get him on. But as we continue to grow as a channel, and I'm able to say, well, listen, we have a great community. We're building it up a little. We have a great community. We're building it up a little bit more. Maybe they will be more happy, more inclined to want to join the show and talk with you guys. So hopefully that is the case. But growing is the biggest part of that. And reaching 20K subs is a huge milestone on the road to that type of show. So I really appreciate that, guys. I think we're going to do 2 more comments, and then we're going to end the stream for today because my son is coming home, and I really don't want to miss the bus that's coming home with him today. So got to make sure that's happening. Okay, so Rick Z says, hey, Troy, congrats on 20K subs. Keep up the great work. I love your takes. You have the talent to grow, bro. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Killer B says, bro, with Dante, you're one of the... Okay, he's talking to somebody else with Cat right now. One of the biggest franchise moves ever, and fans are crying. Yeah, listen, I'm not going to go at him and get at him. Some people want Dante DiVincenzo. Some people don't. It's fine with me. At this point, the Knicks are winning, and that's all I care about. The Real Django says, let's get those likes up. 144 people in the live chat and only 81 likes. Hey, I appreciate you. The Real Django, one of my first subscribers, one of my first members, and also a moderator of this channel. Make sure you listen to him and everything he has to say. Definitely get this live stream up to past 100 likes. Like I said, if you hit that like button, this video goes into the algorithm for YouTube and everybody else can discover it. So you're really helping me in the show when you do that. So I appreciate that. 718 Fresh says 20K. That's a big deal. Congrats to you. I know, man. Thank you so much. It really does mean a lot. I appreciate that. Last comment from Boy81 says, players are able to be aggressive and physical now. Refs not calling much. We have to adapt. Listen, man, first of all, thank you guys so much for joining me during this live stream. We talked about a number of topics. A lot of people didn't expect me to talk about a couple of topics during the live stream Q&A that I was doing for the channel reaching 20K. But you know me, I had to talk about a couple of things before we got to you guys. So I'm thankful that we did that. Anybody watching the playback, you're able to see that. And you can leave comments as well, too. I will be getting back to you. But again, 20K, amazing milestone. I can't believe it. I can't believe at this point in my life, we have 20,000 subscribers and growing on this YouTube channel. We're growing on all the platforms. We're everywhere. We're trying to do the best content on each and every platform so we can grow. But YouTube is where we have been putting out content consistently for the last few years now. And obviously, you guys love the consistency, but it seems like you also love the content. You love the takes. You love the special guests, the clips, the videos, the streams, everything. Absolutely everything. And I really, really appreciate that. I'm not me. I don't do these streams. I don't get to where I am today without this community, without you guys, and for all the support that you've given me. If I'm growing in this community, if I'm becoming one of the mainstays of this community, it's only because you guys have made it that way. I don't get here without your support. I used to, and I very still am, somebody that watches everybody else's content on YouTube. I'm a fan, just like you guys at the end of the day. I know I drop all of this content here or there. I know I have a lot of other NBA insiders on the team, but at the core in my heart, I'm a fan. And I'm never going to stop being a fan because that's what I always want to be when I watch this team. It's an enjoyable process for me to watch this team, watch this game that I can with these Knicks players, watch everything that I'm watching, being able to break down the game for you guys, talk about the game with you guys, go on live and do all of these things. And you guys just appreciate the content so much. 20,000 subscribers is nothing short of amazing. Nobody thought that I could get here when I first started. A lot of people doubted me. They thought I could not reach the 20K mark. A lot of people said, there's no way you can even reach 5K. But I didn't listen to them. I kept putting my head down, kept knowing what I knew. I love this team. I love the Knicks. And I'm going to let everybody know it. And I'm going to push that content out there as much as I could. And I kept doing it. And slowly but surely, you guys not only love the content, but you accepted me into this community and allowed me to be a place in your guys' daily routine. I cannot thank you enough. And I can't tell you enough how much that means to me. One milestone gone. One goal completed. 20K achieved, and I'm so happy for that. The next goal now is 25K. That's where I'm looking for, and that's the next vision that I'm looking for this channel to hit. So hopefully we can get to that next goal very soon. But until then, guys, thank you so much for joining the stream. Thank you so much for helping us reach our goal of 20K. And we are going to be back next time with another episode, another live stream, breaking down all of your favorite episodes and all of your favorite content for the Knicks. And I guarantee when we drop that content, you're going to want to be locked in and focused because we're going to be covering a number of different topics like we did today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.